Hello, this is Dominic Hejna, and this is my final project presentation for Culinary 232, my interview with the chef. I chose to interview Chef Simon Scott of restaurant Bistro de Savoie. He is my current chef here on internship in France, and I thought it would be best to interview him because I see him every day, and all the answers that he gave me I could see and I've learned from. Chef Simon Scott was born in England, and he started working in a small family-run hotel in his teenage years and as a dishwasher. After going to culinary school for 3 years, he went back to London, where he worked in various restaurants for about 5 years, and then he finally became a sous chef, and he went back to France, worked in a couple restaurants there, and then he went back to London, where he got his first executive chef job at the Savoy Hotel, a very famous hotel in London. And there he was a manager of over 120 cooks, which can attest to a lot to his experience as a manager. He managed 2 restaurants within the hotel, the bar, private dining, and also another restaurant. At the time, the Savoy Hotel was considered the premier hotel in England. After 5 years at that hotel, he decided to leave because he felt that a lot of the manager duties of managing 120 cooks, all those restaurants, really took away from all the cooking that he did, and that's what he really loved to do. So he decided to get back to cooking. He opened up his own restaurant in France, a couple of miles away from here. He was there for about 2 years and then moved here to Castres, France, where he has been for the last 5 years. We have 1-star Michelin, and we are open Monday through Friday for lunch and dinner. When I asked Chef Simon what his first mistakes were when he started managing people, he said that there was a lot of trouble he had when people tried to manipulate him. He says that when you're in a position of power like that, or a leadership position, a lot of people try to get you to do what they want, and they just tell you what they think you want to hear, but you really can't tell who is trying to be honest with you and who just wants something. He said the only way to overcome this is to take the best elements of all the people that you respect and you know you can trust and try to incorporate them into your own philosophy. The only way to become a better leader is to try different tactics and to see which ones work best. Ones work for different people that may not work for others. You have to play around to figure out what works. He used me and my friend on internship as an example. Me and my friend Nick Wells are here in France, in a foreign country where no one really speaks English in this town. So he really tries to make the kitchen setting as much as a family as possible. His wife works front of the house, so it's already pretty close to being family. And we work at the restaurant more than we're at home, so it's even more like a family, really. We hang out on weekends, and we always have this circle that keeps us closely knit and makes us a better team in the end. One thing that he says you must do as a manager is to know that every day is a new day, and you cannot carry over bad days. That a bad day stops at the door, and it doesn't leave. It doesn't leave the kitchen. Everything is forgiven. Then that's how he likes to handle things. When I asked him about his hiring techniques, he says that since the 1-star Michelin at his restaurant, he really doesn't have a lot of trouble hiring people. He gets at least 1 or 2 resumes a week sent to him. Also, the schedule we have, Monday through Friday, is very attractive for people. and people really like that, and they always try to get in here. But although he does accept resumes, he'd rather hire by word of mouth or internally. He looks for the person to have similar experience in a similar restaurant. He wants them to have initiative, passion, and a lot of enthusiasm. They should be able to adapt to any situation as well as any cook should. Uh, Before he hires a person, he likes them to do a stage, and the applicant comes in. Chef Simon gives them a few tasks that they should be able to do, asks them a few questions that they should know, and then he says that based on this, he can usually tell within the first day if they would be a good fit in this kitchen. And then I proceeded to talk to him about, once he hires someone, how does he train them? What are his techniques for that? After he hires someone, he starts with the basics, starts very slow, and gradually begins to challenge them. After he's challenged them for a while, he wants the person to develop their own set of standards and to challenge themselves. And I can attest to this myself, being an internship. The first day started out doing basic prep, peeling carrots, potatoes, chopping mushrooms, all the little tasks that are required in a kitchen. As time went on, he taught me something new almost every day, and eventually he gave me my own kind of station where I need to have my own mise en place, and every day I come in, I know I have to get stuff done, and he really expects me to challenge myself on a daily basis and making sure I have everything I need, and to just really push myself. His goal is to have people working for him that are self-motivated and hold themselves to their own standards, and to continually ask themselves questions and learn as much as they can. His chef Simon says that his greatest challenge for him is to be understood by his staff. He says that he's been doing this for so long that it's hard for him to remember that people don't always have the same vision that he does, and they can't always be inside his head. So he tries to build as much trust as he can, tries to talk to you, make sure you understand what this restaurant is all about. He says that the skills we need, even though we don't have them right now because we're young and we're starting out, that everything will come in time, and that he really trusts us to do the best we can. Loyalty of his staff is also very important to him. For example, he sets up traps or tricks, and one of them is the daily cleaning of the reach-ins. Every morning we clean out our boxes of food and mise en place and make sure everything is good, nothing's rotten, and make sure that we have enough for the day. So maybe one day he will ask someone, "Oh, did you clean your boxes?" And the person will go, "Yes, of course I did, chef." And then once we get on break, they'll go back and check the boxes to really make sure. Sometimes they're clean and sometimes they're not. But this is how he tries to figure out if it's a person that they can really trust. It's another way to make sure a person holds up to their own standards. On a lighter note, Chef then explained to me his favorite part of managing a team, and I thought this part was very interesting. He especially likes his relationship with Kendall. Kendall sends interns there about every 6 months. This time there's 2 of us, and he said that his really favorite part about this is that he gets to meet so many different personalities, and even though most of us are from Chicago, we all have different backgrounds and we all have different stories. So his favorite part is meeting all the different characters. From me and from Nick, we're all so different. He also loves getting feedback from his team. He's always open to ideas. He lets us ask him questions, even if they're not really that smart questions, but we need to ask them. He doesn't want us to be afraid to ask as many questions as we can. His philosophy is to treat us like human beings instead of robots. This in turn says a lot about him and that he's a lot more human than a lot of the chefs that he's had. He told me stories about chefs that would yell and yell and yell. But if you yell all the time, then no one knows when you're being serious, and they don't know how to gauge what is bad and what's really bad. So it kind of comes into that the girl who cried wolf scenario. If there's an argument between two of his employees, he sits them down and tries to help talk it out. However, if there's disagreement between, say, a sous chef and a commis like me, he will always side with the higher position person. He says that there needs to be a chain of command and that cannot be broken or else the team will fall apart. So he will always pick the side of the superior person, even if they're wrong. But of course, later he'll take them aside and tell them, hey, you gotta fix this, you gotta do this. The other person's right. But never in front of the lower person. This, again, is only to keep the perfection of the team and to make sure that no one loses focus, and every day just makes us better. In order to deal with the stress that comes along with that perfection, Chef Scott takes daily walks with his dog and really tries to spend time to himself. That's how he deals with the stress of the restaurant. You have to get away for a few minutes, do it. But if you after you have a bad day, you need something. You need a hobby. You need something to get your mind off of what happened. You need to separate yourself from work. My interview with Chef Simon Scott concluded there. I learned a lot, and it was really my first chance to ask him some managerial questions. It was really interesting to learn about his life and his 25 years of experience. I really trust everything he said, and I've begun to ask him a lot more questions about it, and I can't wait to learn more. Thank you for watching. This is